Nithyanandam.
My name is Ma Nithya Swami.
And my name is Ma Nithya Poornapriyananda.
In today's video, we wanted to share about our experiences as Sanyasis in the Nithyananda Sampradaya, or the Nithyananda order. And Ma Poornapriya wanted to interview me about this whole concept of freedom, which I think both of us feel before Sanyas, it was one idea, and after Sanyas, it's a totally different idea and experience for us.
Yeah.
So
actually, one thing about us is we both went to large state schools.
Yes.
I went to Ohio State, and she went to University of Austin, Texas.
University of Texas.
Oh, University of Texas, Austin.
Yes.
Which are huge schools, like over 50,000 people.
Right.
And for me especially, I know that I really wanted a big state school experience,
yes.
And I'm sure it was the same for you.
Exactly.
Because this idea of freedom, choices, everything that you could possibly want was provided in the school.
Yes.
So I wanted to actually ask you a little bit about what was your experience like in going to university and having so many choices available to you, and then after taking sannyas, and what other people perceive as renunciation or having limited choices.
Right. So I think for me, when I decided to go to UT Austin, it was literally for this reason, because it had offered so many options. I was obviously, at that time, I was someone that wasn't very clear like what my purpose in life was, so I chose business because why? In a business degree, you have many options. You can go marketing, you can go accounting, you can go finance.
Literally almost anything.
There's a lot opens up to you. And there's the option of meeting many people. There's the option of taking a variety of electives. There's a diverse nightlife. There's just kind of a freedom of just meeting and experiencing so many things. And that was very appealing to me. And that same kind of appeal was there when I moved to New York City, which was something that inside of me I really wanted to do, because I knew there was just so much happening. That idea of constant happening meant excitement.
Exactly. Constantly something, some outer world stimulus.
Yes. Whether I was doing all those things, I mean, it's not possible, but even knowing that all that's happening, or knowing you have so many clubs to go to, knowing you have so many people to meet, knowing that you can switch your job, knowing that you can live all over town, even though it's such a small area, but there's so many places to live and explore. It just felt exciting. And the funny thing is, although I had good experiences in college and living in New York City, it's really not what it's cracked up to be. You don't get the user's manual for how to deal with all the ups and downs, or dealing with, you kind of you imagine that the experience will be a certain way, but it's not. And I think what really is surprising when you take sannyas is, yes, your lifestyle and your discipline is a certain way. We do, yoga, puja, we have our department work, and there's a certain discipline, but it never feels like a limiting discipline, because there's a context to it. And actually it helps us align to our purpose in life.
Exactly.
Which for us is, with Swamiji, the purpose as a sannyasi is to be enlightened and to help others experience the initiation of Swamiji and go down that path as well. And
so I can say, for example, this is such a funny thing, but before I had taken sannyas and before I had even decided, one of the funny things that I was kind of incomplete about was, oh my God, I have to wear kavi every day. I was like, how can I do that? And now I feel it's such a freedom.
Yes.
Because it's not that, it's like some kind of uniform and something, but I feel that my clothing actually has some meaning.
Yes.
It represents what my lifestyle is and what my path is.
Right.
Before it's just I wore something because I like the design, color, whatever it may be. This actually has some meaning, and it's directly given by Swamiji, so it has so much of value to it. And so many things like that. I used to have so many different perceptions of what freedom and choices and that was like to the point where if I wasn't experiencing that when in my outer world life, that I felt all this tiredness and boredom.
Yes.
You know?
So quick to get bored.
Exactly. If I'm not constantly stimulated.
Yes.
If something is not constantly in my face and I'm not, watching something or doing something, I feel bored.
Yes.
And then I get into this, laziness and tiredness and all those negative patterns that get, built into your muscle memory where it's even hard to get up and do something. So it just becomes like this cycle of laziness, tiredness, and boredom.
Yeah.
And here, it's like most of the time we have a very strict schedule, like you said. Everything we follow is like the daily routine is exactly the same every day, We get up, go to yoga, puja, satsang. And of course, each day your department work might be different, but in the end, it's not that we're going out and like going to different cities and traveling and doing all these different things all the time. But I find life here so exciting.
Yes. If there's one word to describe life as a sannyasi of Swamiji, it's just exciting.
Yes.
Actually, you made me think of something. So, this whole clothes thing, I think a lot of people get stuck on that. And we're both, living, being born and brought up in the US, like clothes was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Shopping was a big deal. At least for me, like, I didn't necessarily need brand names, but the clothes defined me.
Yes.
And when I looked in, because I also had that same concept, like, I'll be wearing the same clothes every day. But it really wasn't an issue at all. Because like you said, there's a context why you're wearing it. And the context I had before was more about what others thought of me.
Exactly.
Not so much what I liked or if I even knew what I liked, but it was more geared to the environment I was in and how I looked.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nothing wrong with wearing different clothes. But as long as the context is correct, and I think that's what we learn as sannyasis, the context in everything that we do really, really, really matters. And even if you're not a sannyasi, why you are the way you are is important to know that context.
Exactly. And actually exactly what you said, Swamiji always talks about the imaginary opinion of others.
Yes.
So much, I don't know, I'm sure you've had this experience when, especially growing up in the U.S. and, certain expectations and ideas that we have about life and how we want to be perceived by people. And for me, I know I had this constant thought in my head of what are other people thinking, what are other people thinking.
Yes.
I don't know.
Whether you say it or not, it's there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And share a little bit about your experience with that before sannyas versus after sannyas.
Yes. Actually, I could say before sannyas, I really, really, really cared what people thought.
Mm-hmm.
I may play it cool, like it doesn't matter, but even the slightest word that was like sort of a negative towards me or not an appreciation towards me, something which was a criticism, could really put me into like a downward spiral and just make me not feel good about myself, which ends up, influencing how you live. And here, see, we don't come immediately enlightened or anything, right? So whatever patterns we have also come out on this journey. But here you're given so many tools and techniques to look in and see, okay, I see this pattern is happening. I'm reacting to what this person is saying as opposed to understanding why they're asking or why this situation is happening, or what Swamiji trying to show me.
Right.
So there's a million ways to come out of these so-called patterns, and the best is just deciding to drop them. But you're supported, as a sannyasi, you're literally supported with all the tools necessary, and Swamiji directly guiding us to drop all these powerless cognitions.
And that is real freedom, I can say.
Yes.
Because before you're so run by your patterns, your ideas, your thoughts about what other people might think, or even just how your lower inner image that you might have about yourself, And Swamiji's, with the energy that he puts inside each being here, whether you're an Adinavasi or sannyasi, how much of energy he puts into you and gives you that real experience of freedom beyond your patterns and incompletions and lower inner image.
Yes.
So,
and here he's literally saying you are Mahasadashiva.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing lower than that. So you're constantly expanding, and I think when you're before sannyas, when you're living in the so-called real world, your idea of you is so limited. So the space for expansion maybe happens once or twice in your whole life, if at all.
Oh.
Right? But here, even when you achieve a goal or something, there's no like looking back. It's okay, what's next?
What's next?
And you may think you are like good at something. The Swamiji shows you're good at everything. As long as you drop the SDHD, the self-doubt, self-denial,
and
self-hatred.
limited cognitions that you have, that I have to be like this and I should do this, and I mean, he will literally put you in any kind of situation and with dealing with any kind of person, and he gives you the power and energy to just flourish.
Yes, and I think that's what we're saying. It's like he gives us the freedom to be who we really are, and the full support system as our guru, as our dad, mom, everything, providing the ambience of the adinam, providing the sangha, providing the satsang, providing the books, providing the education, just providing his experiences. It's like everywhere you look, there's an opportunity for immediate enlightenment, actually.
Exactly. And that's what I was talking to you about yesterday. Like, there's at least like 10,000 ways for completion.
Yes.
He's given us, whether it's chanting Mahavakya or scanning through your third eye, or so many different things he's literally given us, and you can choose any one of them, and any one of them is as good as the other.
Yes.
It's you have so many choices.
Yes.
But in the end, it's the ultimate goal is that completion and experiencing yourself beyond all these, limited cognitions and patterns that you might hold about yourself.
And I think one thing that I really saw is that he really shows you how to love yourself. And I think before sannyas, like that's kind of what you're trying to do, but you're looking in all the wrong places. You're looking for others to love you,
and the
or accept you,
validation.
or validate you. And then you have so many reasons inside why you're not good enough, why you're not worthy, and why you can't do this, why you don't achieve that. And the list goes on and on and on. And as a sannyasi, you very ferociously have to drop those ideas and realize what is there is fine and it can do so much. Why? Because Swamiji said so.
Exactly.
I mean, it's very simple.
Exactly.
So the whole confusion and complexity starts to melt away.
And it's, people always wonder, like, how can you make such a big decision at such a young age, But it wasn't even like a decision.
I feel, how could you not? After you met Swamiji, you know who he is, you know the experience he's giving you, and he says sannyas is the best lifestyle for this path, then how could you not do it? But that's, okay, everyone has their own reasons, but he gives a space for everyone. Even if you don't take sannyas, you can come be in the adinam and experience your expansion. And I think maybe our next video we can talk about powers.
Yes, definitely. How he's, so seamlessly made us live such a magical life.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, put them in the message,
the comment section.
Yeah. We'll both upload this to our respective YouTube sites. And again, thank you so much. And Nithyanandam.
Thank you, Nithyanandam.